You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network. I'm Nicholas Callis. These are your game recaps, standing updates, and league leaders from Sunday, June the 14th, 2020. An AL East matchup between the Red Sox and the Yankees, and the Red Sox completed a 3-game sweep of the Yankees in this one. 10-8 the final score. Brian Johnson got the win, Masahiro Tanaka got the loss, and Ryan Brazier earned his first save of the season with the Red Sox. Another AL East game. The Orioles and Rays played each other, and the Orioles came out on top, 5-2 the final score. The Orioles scored their runs between the 3rd and 7th innings. The Rays got their only 2 runs in the 8th and lost by 3. John Means got the win, Blake Snell got the loss, and Michael Givens earned his 21st save of the season. The Blue Jays routed the Tigers 11-2 the final score of this game. The Blue Jays started scoring in the 2nd inning. They had put up 2 in the 4th as well, along with a crooked 3 runs in the 5th. The Tigers got a run in the 4th and a run in the 6th, but it certainly was not enough to tackle the 9-run deficit that they ended up finishing with. Chase Anderson got the win, and Matthew Boyd got the loss. The Indians and Rangers played each other 2-0 the final score. This was a pitcher's duel throughout. The Indians got their runs late, 1 in the 7th and 1 in the 8th. Carlos Carrasco got his 7th win of the season. Mike Minor earned his first losing decision of the year. And Brad Hand is up to 26 saves now with the Indians this season. The AL West matchup between the Mariners and the Angels, 7-5 the final score. The Angels came out on top. The Mariners got 4 of their 5 runs in the 4th inning. Meanwhile, the Angels had scored 4 runs before the 3rd inning ended. The Angels just had back-to-back innings where they scored a run in the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th, and they came out on top by 2. Matt Andriese got the win, Nestor Cortez Jr. got the loss, and Hansel Robles earned his 20th save of the season. AL Central baseball between the Twins and the Royals, and the Twins came out with a large victory. They scored early, and then they scored often after that. 1 run in the 1st, 2 runs in the 3rd, 4 runs in the 5th, 3 runs in the 7th. The Royals were only able to score in the 2nd inning. The game was tied at that point, but then the Twins evidently went on an offensive spree. Fernando Romero got the win, and Keller got the loss, his 11th of the season. The White Sox and Astros played each other. It was a pitcher's duel. It was a good starting matchup, Zach Greinke against Gio Gonzalez, and both starters got a decision in this very highly offensive-filled game. 8-6 the final score. The Astros 8 runs on 15 hits. The White Sox 6 runs on 13 hits. The Astros started scoring first. They had 5 runs before the 2nd inning was over. The White Sox put up 2 in the 3rd and 2 in the 5th inning. Then the Astros responded with a 2-run 6th. The White Sox put up 2 in the 7th, while the Astros put up 1. And no team scored after that point. And it was a 2-run game to finish out. Zach Greinke got the win. Gio Gonzalez got the loss. And Roberto Ozuna earned his 23rd save of the year with the Astros. The Dodgers and Braves played each other 7-5 the final score of this game. Joe Kelly got the win, Will Smith got the loss, and Kenley Jansen earned his 26th save of the season. The Braves were winning heading into the 9th inning, but then the Dodgers put up 3 runs, took the lead. That gave Kenley Jansen the opportunity to save, and Will Smith blew the save that he had the opportunity to achieve in that 9th inning. NL East baseball, the Nationals and the Mets played each other. Quite a pitcher's duel it started out to be, but turned out Jacob deGrom did not pitch well. He gave up 2 runs in the 3rd, 3 runs in the 4th inning. And the Nationals didn't need to score anymore after that, but they continued to because the Mets got blanked. Steven Strasburg got the win, Jacob deGrom earned the loss. The Mets scored no runs despite getting 8 hits, which was just 1 less than the Nationals, who got 8 runs on 9 hits. The Mets also committed 2 errors as a team. NL Central baseball between the Cubs and the Cardinals. This another lopsided game, 10-2 the final score. The Cardinals scored 4 in the 4th inning and 5 in the 8th inning. That's matched with a 1-run 7th inning, but they clearly won this game. 8 runs was the deficit the Cubs could not overcome. The Cubs scored 2 runs in the 7th inning, but that's the only runs that they scored in any inning of this game. And they lost by a lot. Jack Flaherty got the win, Tyler Chatwood got the loss, and Jordan Hicks was able to earn the save in this one. Another NL Central game between the Reds and the Brewers, 11-5. The final score of this game, the Reds came out on top by 6. Matt Bowman got the win, and Brandon Woodruff got the loss. Interleague play between the Athletics and the Phillies, 3-2, was the final score. It was a close game, and this game featured early offense. The Phillies had the lead after the 1st inning. It was 2-1, but then the Athletics put up 2 in the 4th inning. The Phillies didn't score past the 1st inning, so they ended up losing this one. Jesus Luzardo got the win, Zach Eflin got the loss, and Liam Hendricks earned his 27th save of the season. The Pirates and Rockies played each other. It was a close game. 5-4 was the final score. It was tied 4-4 going into the 6th, but the Pirates put up a run, and neither team scored after that point. Chris Archer got the win, Jeff Hoffman got the loss, and Keone Kela earned his 16th save of the year. An NL West matchup between the Diamondbacks and the Padres, and the D-backs won 5-1. This was an important series because the Diamondbacks and Padres are back-to-back in the standings. The Padres are in second place, and the Diamondbacks are in third place, and they're relatively close. Madison Bumgarner got the win, and Dinelson Lamet got the loss. There was early offense in this game, too. The Diamondbacks put up 4 in the first inning. The Padres put up their only run in the first. And despite the Diamondbacks tacking on a run in the 5th inning, they had the lead in this game because the Padres were nearly shut out. The Marlins and Giants played each other, 9-6 the final score. The Marlins 9 runs on 16 hits. The Giants 6 runs on 13 hits. And speaking of numbers in the teens, this game went 15 innings. The Marlins came out with a 3-run 15th inning that allowed them to pull away the victory. They also had a massive comeback, scoring 3 runs in the 9th inning to tie the game at 6. And again, they wound up winning this one by 3 runs. Brandon Kintzler got the win. Davey Jimenez got the loss, and Eliezer Hernandez earned his first save of the season with the Marlins. Let's take a look at standings now. Starting in the American League East, the New York Yankees continue to top this division. They're 42-30, though they lost 3 in a row to the Red Sox, which allowed the Blue Jays to catch up. The Blue Jays are 40-32 after winning today against the Tigers. They're 2 games back of the Yankees now. The Rays are 35-38, as are the Red Sox. They're both tied for third place, though the Rays lost today, and the Red Sox have won 4 in a row, most recently sweeping the Yankees in first place. And the Orioles are 31-40. They won a game which broke their losing streak, but they've still lost 8 of their last 10 games, and they're 10.5 games back of the Yankees for first place. In the American League Central, the Minnesota Twins continue to dominate. They're 52-21. That's the best record in Major League Baseball to this point in the season. They've won 8 of their last 10 games. They're still at the top. The White Sox are 43-29. They lost today. They're 8.5 games back of the Twins. The Indians are 40-32, 11.5 games back. They've won 2 games in a row against the Rangers. The Tigers lost today against the Blue Jays. They're 29-42, 22 games back. And the Royals are 22-50. They're still in last place, and they're getting close to being 30 games back of the Twins for first place. They've lost 8 of their last 10 games, and they've lost 2 in a row up to this point. In the American League West, the Oakland Athletics are 46-26. They've won 5 games in a row. They're still at the top. The Astros have won 7 of their last 10. They're 41-30, and they're 4.5 games back. The Angels are 33-37. They're 12 games back. They've won 3 games in a row. The Rangers are 29-43, 17 games back. They lost 2 in a row, and they've lost 7 of their last 10. And the Mariners are on quite a cold streak. They're 24-49. They're 22.5 games back, and they've lost their last 9 games. Wildcard standings look like this. The Chicago White Sox are still the first-place team. The Astros are the second wildcard team, 41-30 is their record. These two are close. And then you have the Blue Jays and the Indians, who have the same record. They're 40-32. They're each a game and a half back. And they're the only two really in contention to this point because every other team in the American League has a winning percentage below 500 and is at least 7 games back of the Astros for that second wildcard spot. In the National League East, the Washington Nationals and the Miami Marlins are tied for this division's best record, and they're each in first place. The Braves are 37-35. They're 4.5 games back. They've lost 2 games in a row. The Phillies continue to be cold. They've lost 11 games in a row. They're 7.5 games back. Their record is 33-37. The Mets are 30-41. They're 11 games back. They lost today, and they've lost 6 of their last 10. In the National League Central, the St. Louis Cardinals continue to be the only team in this division with a winning percentage over 500, and they're 1 win away from 40. They're 39-32. They've won 3 in a row and 7 of their last 10. The Cubs are 34-38, 5.5 games back. The Brewers are 33-38, 6 games back. The Reds are 30-42, 9.5 games back. And the Pirates are 29-42. They're 10 games back of the Cardinals for first place. In the National League West, the Dodgers are up to 50 wins. They're 50-21. They've won 2 games in a row. They still top this division, and it's quite a lead for them. The next best team in the NL West has 40 wins. The Padres, who are 40-33, and they're 11 games back of the Dodgers. The Diamondbacks are 38-30. They're 12 games back. They're keeping pace with the Padres. The Diamondbacks beat the Padres today, and they're now within a game of the Padres for that second place spot. The Rockies are 30-41. They're 20 games back. And the Giants are 27-44. They lost to the Marlins today. They've lost 2 in a row. They've lost 7 of their last 10. They're still in last place, 23 games back of the Dodgers. And here are the National League wildcard standings. Since the Marlins and Nationals are tied for the NL East lead, they also still qualify for the top spot on this wildcard list. The Padres are behind both of those teams. They're 40 and 33. They're the second wildcard team to this point in the year. The Diamondbacks are 38 and 33. They're a game back, and the Padres are in jeopardy of giving up that second wildcard spot to the Diamondbacks. So even though they're both far away from the Dodgers in the National League West, they still are contending for a wildcard spot. So it's important that one of these two teams stays in second place for their own good. The Braves are 37 and 35. They're 2.5 games back of the Padres for that second wildcard spot, and every other team in the National League has a winning percentage under 500 and is at least 5.5 games back of that second wildcard spot. And looking at league leaders, starting with batting average leaders in the American League, Miguel Cabrera still at the top with a 377 batting average. Carlos Santana second best with a 354, and Miguel Andujar third best with a 348. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt has a 375 average, David Dahl second best with a 355, and Jonathan Villar third best with a 349. Hits leaders in the American League, Miguel Andujar is at 104, Miguel Cabrera one behind him with 103, and JD Martinez and DJ LeMahieu tied for third best with 98. In the National League, Jonathan Villar is at 106 hits, 9 behind him is Paul Goldschmidt with 97, and Ronald Acuna Jr. rounds out the top 3 with 92. At bat leaders in the American League, Miguel Andujar is at 299, DJ LeMahieu second best with 297, and Jose Abreu third best with 296. In the National League, Jonathan Villar has a large lead, and it's not even close right now. Jonathan Villar is at 304 at bats. The next best is Ozzie Albies with 287. Doubles leaders in the American League, Anthony Rendon's at 26, Jose Abreu is at 24, and Miguel Andujar third best with 23. In the National League, Jonathan Villar has 33 doubles, Christian Yelich second best with 26, Trey Turner, Nicholas Castellanos, and Ketel Marte all tied for third best with 21. Triples leaders in the American League, Jose Altuve has 6 triples, Whit Merrifield, Adalberto Mondesi, Steven Piscotty, and Max Kepler are all tied for second best. They all have 4 triples this season. In the National League, Jonathan Villar has 9, Victor Robles second best with 6, then Hunter Pence and Chris Bryant are tied for third best with 5. Home run leaders in the American League, Justin Upton has 25 home runs, JD Martinez and Lourdes Gurriel Jr. are tied for second best with 24. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. has 29, trailing him by 4 is Paul Goldschmidt, who has 25, and Max Muncy's third best with 18. RBI leaders in the American League, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. is up to 70, 9 behind him is Chris Davis with 61, and then Nelson Cruz and Josh Donaldson are tied for third best with 60. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt has 68. That's a large lead. The next best player is Cody Bellinger, who has 55 RBIs, and Christian Yelich is 2 behind Bellinger with 53, and he rounds out the top 3 on this list. Runs scored leaders in the American League, JD Martinez has 57 runs scored. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. has 64 runs scored. Stolen base leaders in the American League, Adalberto Mondesi has 16, D. Gordon, Malik Smith, and Whit Merrifield are all tied for second best with 13. In the National League, Starling Marte has 27, and he's got caught up to Trey Turner's at 26, 1 behind Marte for the league lead, and Jonathan Villar rounds out the top 3 with 19. Walks leaders in the American League, Shin-Soo Choo has 47, as does Alex Bregman. They're both at the top. In the National League, Rhys Hoskins stands alone on this list of league leaders from the NL with 49. On-base percentage leaders in the American League, Miguel Cabrera has a 444 on-base percentage, Carlos Santana second best with a 432, and Alex Bregman is third best with a 429. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt has a 469 on-base percentage, Christian Yelich second best with a 427, and Ronald Acuna Jr. third best with a 425. Slugging percentage leaders in the American League, Josh Donaldson's at a 665, JD Martinez is at a 641, and Yohan Moncada third best with a 630. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt has a 753, as does Ronald Acuna Jr. They're very close. And third best is Christian Yelich with a 668. OPS leaders on base plus slugging. Josh Donaldson's at the top with a 1.086. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt has a 1.222 OPS, and he's the leader of this category. Wins leaders in the American League, Kenta Maeda has 9, Hyunjin Ryu and Jake Odorizzi are tied for second best with 8. In the National League, Walker Buehler has 11, Jimmy Nelson and Madison Bumgarner are tied for second best with 8. Losses leaders in the American League, it's down to 2, Kenta Maeda and Chris Bassett. Each have not lost a game this year. They remain undefeated. Mike Minor was previously on this list, but he lost in his decision today, so he joins Sean Manaea for the third best spot on this list with 1 loss. In the National League, Walker Buehler is the leader. There's no pitcher in the National League who's a regular starter that's undefeated. Walker Buehler has the least amount of losses with 1. Saves leaders in the American League, Liam Hendriks has 27 saves, Brad Hand second best with 26, and Roberto Osuna third best with 23. In the National League, Giovanni Gallegos no longer the Major League leader, and somebody from the National League has caught up to his total. It's Kenley Jansen. They each have 26, and they're at the top of this list. Sean Doolittle rounds out the top 3 with 24 saves. Earned run average leaders in the American League, Kenta Maeda and Mike Minor have the exact earned run average, 2.23, and they're tied for the top spot. Jordan Zimmerman is third best on this list with a 2.66. In the National League, Marcus Stroman has a 1.94, Walker Buehler has a 1.98, and Mike Soroka rounds out the top 3 with a 2.42. Home runs allowed, the least amount of home runs allowed among American League pitchers, Mike Minor and Gio Gonzalez have each allowed 6, which is the least among AL pitchers. In the National League, Caleb Smith, Marcus Stroman, and Garrett Richards are all tied for this top spot. They each have allowed 4 home runs, which is the least among NL pitchers. Shutout leaders in the American League, Garrett Cole and Masahiro Tanaka have thrown 3 shutouts this year. Jake Odorizzi is third best with 2. In the National League, Jacob deGrom has thrown 3 shutouts. Zach Wheeler, Merrill Kelly, and Walker Buehler are all tied for second best with 2. Strikeout leaders in the American League, Garrett Cole has 127, Lucas Giolito's at 112, and Carlos Carrasco is third best with 110. In the National League, Clayton Kershaw has 124, Steven Strasburg has 121, and Chris Archer third best with 111. Complete games thrown among American League pitchers, Garrett Cole and Masahiro Tanaka are tied for the top spot with 3. Aaron Savali and Jake Odorizzi have 2 complete games thrown on the year, and they're tied for third best on this list. In the National League, Jacob deGrom and Zach Wheeler have each thrown 3 complete games. Aaron Nola, Merrill Kelly, and Walker Buehler are all tied for third best with 2. Innings pitched leaders in the American League, Hyunjin Ryu has thrown 102 pitches. In the National League, Clayton Kershaw has 105, and the second NL pitcher to over 100 innings pitched is Steven Strasburg, who's thrown 103rd innings this season. Walks allowed among American League pitchers, Carlos Carrasco has allowed 12, which is the least amount in the AL. In the National League, Brett Anderson has allowed the least amount of NL walks. He has allowed 17 free passes this season. Whip leaders in the American League, Masahiro Tanaka is at a 104, Jake Odorizzi is at a 105, Kenta Maeda and Dylan Bundy are close to a 107. They make up the 3 and 4 on this list. In the National League, Marcus Stroman has a 101 whip, Mike Soroka is at a 102, Clayton Kershaw is at a 104, as is Aaron Nola. They all make up the top 4 on this NL list. Pitching war leaders in the American League, Jake Odorizzi and Shane Bieber are at a 2.4, Garrett Cole, Carlos Carrasco, and Masahiro Tanaka are all at a 2.3. They make up the top 5 on this list. In the National League, Clayton Kershaw is at a 2.5, as is Steven Strasburg. Jacob deGrom's at a 2.4. Yu Darvish and Walker Buehler are at a 2.1, and Robbie Ray is the only one with a pitching war of 2 or more. And they all make up the top 6 on this list, those with a pitching war of 2 or more in the NL. Batting war leaders in the American League, Marcus Semien has a 4.7 batting war. Matt Chapman second best with a 4.2. DJ LeMahieu closely behind Chapman with a 4.2. That rounds out the top 3. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. is at a 5.9. Christian Yelich and Paul Goldschmidt are each at a 4.8, and they make up the top 3 on this list. These have been your game recaps, standing updates, and league leaders from Sunday, June the 14th, 2020. I'm Nicholas Callis. You've been watching Major League Baseball's virtual network.